Hello, welcome back to Outlandish Claims, everyone. I'm here with Gio, and who is this ragamuffin? Why, it's MIllz. Welcome back.
Hi, what's up, everybody?
Well, you haven't been here in the longest, so we'll allow you to go first here because, well, weekly recaps, the floor is yours. What did you take away from this week in baseball, good or bad?
What I took away from this week in baseball is that pitching must be a real easy game to do, considering nobody in the league can hit with how many no-hitters we've had this year already, and one no-hitter that technically doesn't count, but I'm counting it in my book. So 5 that makes it within a month and a half of the season. Weekly recaps overall for teams like the Yankees, fairly good week. Sweep the Tigers, take 2 out of 3 from the Astros. Mets seem to be some turmoil going on, especially after their hitting coach firing. And I think there's deeper storylines going on there than we know about. I know we were talking about it a little bit earlier this morning in our group chat, but it's definitely a little sketchy what was going on. And if you watched Lindor's interview last night, I saw somebody say it looked like the first time he was lying, which I kind of laughed at, but that's what I have.
Well, to add on to that stuff,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but where is Demetrius when we need him most?
yeah, right. This is the perfect
Honest
time.
to God, where is Demetrius when we need him the most?
It's funny you say Demetrius because if you guys could catch on what this picture is supposed to represent, he would not be happy about this at all.
Oh,
This is the Subway Series game glitching.
You mean Game 5 when the Yankees were a wild card and the Mets were the best team in the playoffs?
This is when they won the World Series in 2000.
When the Mets were supposedly supposed to win the World Series and they got their asses kicked by my Yankees. They were my Yankees back then.
The core 4, baby. But going back to follow up on what MIllz said, yeah, the Mets clubhouse situation got very interesting. After the game, Lindor and McNeil were both on the argument that they were trying to debate if what they saw in the clubhouse was a rat or a raccoon, I think. When we all know that there's more to it, there were some people on Twitter that were at the game saying that they were near the dugout and they heard a verbal argument between them about McNeil saying Lindor was not worth his contract and Lindor struck him. I don't know the full details, but it would not shock me if that was related to that. So the Mets they won the game last night, good for them, but they're still struggling, and Lindor finally had himself a good game. Perfect timing. No-hitters. There are 4 no-hitters on May 8th, and that is the earliest we've gotten to 4 no-hitters in a season ever. So the arguments or experiment of putting the mound of foot back is not too far-fetched right now. Because you look at some of these pitchers, this could be a topic we ask Adam later on, so I won't say too much about it. But just to make a long story short, the fact that these pitchers throw a lot harder, they have a lot of movement on their pitches now, makes you think as a hitter you have less time than they did back in the 80s, back in the 90s to react to these pitches. So it might not be too bad if they can't hit the ball. The fact that 250 is a good batting average is not a good sign. But one more thing I want to point out that happened this week was the Angels releasing Albert Pujols in the midst of his final season. And that already sparked some teams getting asked about if they were going to take them back. I know La Russa said the White Sox wouldn't be a good fit for him. So that'll be another thing looking forward to see what happens with Pujols if he retires completely or if he goes back to St. Louis for a farewell tour, maybe signs with another team to get starting innings, to get 700 home runs. I think he's near 30 home runs from the 700 mark. It's going to be quite interesting.
Since he got cut and since he obviously doesn't command the same, I propose Tampa get him, if for no other reason than they need veteran presence. And he's got a low batting average, which would fit right in with everybody else up and down that lineup. Can't hit worth a damn anymore, but he gets home runs. Speaking of Angels and Rays, I was the only one to get my weekly outlook prediction correct. The Rays did, in fact, sweep the Angels.
Not a hard thing to do.
Well, it seems to be hard for people out west. It seems to be hard for any team named the Yankees to win 3 in a row. So,
To be fair, though, ever since Jay Bruce retired, the Yankees have one of the best records in baseball. Mike's therapy sessions and my therapy session last week seem to be at least working. They might be actually those might be 2 of the 5 viewers. It might be John Carlos Stanton watching us and going, all right, I feel bad for my fellow Mike here. I have to recreate what I did in my MVP season a few years ago.
By the way, Red Sox and A's, first teams to 20 wins.
Oakland, baby.
Yeah. I think people are surprised the Red Sox are up there. I mean, they're having a
I
great
think everybody on earth is surprised the Red Sox are up there. But then again, Heim Bloom. MIllz, you said very well, it looked like the first time he was lying. Someone said it looked like the first time he was lying. See, this is where the Mets retaining Carlos Beltran would have come in handy. He would have learned how to lie better. So some things you just can't get from someone honest like Luis Rojas. Just the way it goes sometimes, I guess, when you don't have a dishonest member in that clubhouse. What a shame.
And I think what startles me the most is that when Rojas was asked about it, he seemed like he didn't really, like his quotes didn't really come off like he knew what was even going on.
It could, to be fair, it could have just been something brand new that cropped up. Like McNeil does not have the personality to me of someone who's going to go and badmouth people around the clubhouse. He's got, I mean, he is the squirrel. He does his job. He does it well. And he just keeps moving from place to place, trying to find his nut and succeeds. But Lindor, I think at this point with, as Demetrius put it so well in one of the episodes from last week, they paid him $300+ million to bat his birthday. 203. Like, you deserve the hate you get sometimes in this game. And if you're one of the 3 highest paid players in baseball and you can't even hit, as Gio put very well, above Bobby Bonilla, then there's a problem.
Well, it's especially worse and it's more exaggerated in the New York market.
Yeah. So when you're like making the comments about you've never seen a New York rat and you obviously look like you're not telling the truth, it's not Cleveland. They're not just going to be like, oh, he's just a fun clubhouse guy. It's going to be you're making $30 million plus a year. You're not producing. This team had a bunch of expectations, and you're not doing anything with it. What's going on? So I'm curious how it's going to unfold because at this point, Rojas will not be managing this team at the end of the season.
But we will close out the episode, of course, with our weekly outlooks and weekly predictions. So, MIllz, first time doing this one. So,
that's fine. Hey, I got this. So I'm looking right now just because this was one of the things on my radar over the last week, and I'm looking ahead to it. San Francisco Giants. They got a series against the Rangers, 2-game series, and then a 4-game set against the Pirates. I am going to say that they go 5-1 on that series, extend their lead out over the Dodgers and who's in second place, the Padres right now, and they just beat the Padres too, like just came across the board here. So extending it out even further, I say by the end of the week, San Francisco Giants have a 7-game lead in the NL West.
My prediction might not be really outlandish at this point, but I think we're going to get another no-hitter. And the game specifically, or at least the series I think it's going to happen in, is the Giants versus the Pirates. And there are a couple of pitchers that are going for San Francisco right now that are currently hot enough to make it happen. We got, I think Johnny Cueto's coming back this week. He's pitching Saturday. And then the day before that, Kevin Gausman. Sunday, I think it's Alex Wood. So those are 3 pitchers that are actually doing pretty solid. Cueto was great before his injury, too. He might have an innings limit, but with the way San Francisco's playing and how bad the Pirates' offense is without Key Brian Hayes, this could be something at this point. It wouldn't shock me.
My prediction is going to be slightly of an outlandish claim here. MIllz set it up a little bit perfectly earlier when he said that Boston and the A's were the first teams to 20 wins. They play each other this week, and I'm predicting an Oakland sweep of Boston.
Wow.
They have better pitching. Their pitchers are hitting their strides. Minaya just had a great game the other day against Tampa. They're having a good game against Tampa again today. They're getting some revenge for the Rays, knocking them off their 13-game winning streak a little bit. Cole Irvin is looking somehow spectacular while Jesus Luzardo goes full MIllz and breaks his hand while playing a video game. But their bullpen looks fantastic. So I'm going to go with the bullpen and the couple of starters that are actually killing it right now in that Oakland is better than Boston, and I'm gonna in that hitter's park. Matt Olson's gonna have some fun. Mark Canha's gonna have some fun. Maybe finally Matt Chapman will find his swing that's been missing since about 2 years ago.
My fantasy team hopes so.
Well, your fantasy team is hoping for some trades right now because 2 players ain't gonna do it, MIllz.
I would love for Matt Olson to continue to go crazy. I am all for it.
You know how happy I am with Mark Canha right now? You know how happy I am that I got away with drafting him and Alex Reyes, the 2 bright spots of my team.
Mark Canha's swing is something else. One of my favorites in baseball. Pure genius, too. Absolute genius.
My God. That's true. We had some great way to close out that episode, Gio. So
Oh, we definitely did. Right, MIllz?
You can tell MIllz hasn't watched the episode because he's not mad at us.
No, the last episode I watched was last Fridays.
I already know once he watches it, I'm going to get an angry text.
We both will. Because I was the one that closed it. It was my joke that closed it.
You're going to have to send me the episode directly.
You just shared it today.
Was that one? Okay.
Which go watch on Facebook and Twitter and
YouTube and everything else. Watch it. See, Demetrius isn't here to promote other shows.
Him and his baseball bits.
I know. That will do it for us today, though. We'll be back tomorrow with Mr. Gio to talk about prospects.
Oh,
Prospects? You talking about prospects?
Me?
Prospects. Absolutely. It's going to be a great time. Gio's favorite topic in the world.
Remember when he roasted me and said that he knew slightly more about prospects?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, I would argue you don't, but yeah.
Oh, maybe we'll have a fight episode. Who knows? We'll see what happens. It's going to be good. We'll see you then.
Bitch.
Bitch.
I'm trying to find better ways to end these episodes.
Well, that's how the episode ends. Right there, bitch.
Let's go.